Hey everybody, welcome to Garrett's Games of Geekiness. We are a podcast and a video series here on YouTube, and we're glad you've joined us. Remember, you can subscribe and thumbs up, we'd love that, and head over to garrettsgames.com to hear our audio podcast, which is long running, almost 19 years. So many things. And so today, by the way, how you doing, honey bunch?
I'm doing great. How are you, dear?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm Doug.
And I'm Shelley.
And today we have Unconscious Mind. We're exploring our innermost secrets, delving into dreams here. Yes, we've headed to Vienna here, and we are acolytes of Freud as we are helping to rid our clients of their problems, cure them, and get as much fame and recognition as possible over the course of, well, as much time as possible here, because this is a big game.
Big.
So here is Unconscious Mind from Lucky Duck Games, and I should say, designed by Yoma, Laskas, and Jonny Pac. All right, as you can see, there is no room left on the table, and this has just got one player's setup here, all right? This is a little bit crazy. We've got two main boards, the city of Vienna down here, and then the action board, which is here. All right, we are going to have on our player board a variety of different little pieces. These are, speech bubbles, yes, because that, of course, is our, basically this is the worker in your worker placement part of this game. You have three different boards for the player. You even have an inkwell here that you're going to write with, and you are going to, over the course of the game, you're going to be trying to cure your clients who are over here in your office while dealing with aspects of the inspiration that you've got as you learn things, okay? And then you write things in your notebook with your inkwell moving around to possibly gain points in your heart-shaped box area, and of course, drink a lot of coffee, all right? So the main thing, you've got three possible actions on a turn. The main thing you're gonna do is you're going to place your speech bubbles out into this area. Now this is set up for a two-player game because this is blocking some of the spots where you could place, and all of these have different actions. Now notice, of course, with a speech bubble, you've got this little arrow, and that is going to be what you're going to be pointing, so you can see, like this spot, for example, can point to all four of these possible actions. Each action on this, the base setup, has two actions that you can do, so you can do the action twice. In order to do that, you would have to put two speech bubbles out there, all right? So you can choose to do the various actions. So this top row, I'm gonna handle this, and then Shelley's gonna talk about curing clients in a minute. This top row is about writing in your notebook, which are these tiles here. And see, you are spending coffee, 1, 2, or 3 coffee, to be able to take the notebook pages that are in these spots. This first one allows you to just place that notebook tile somewhere in your 3x3 grid that is your notebook, all right? And in future turns, you will then activate these tiles. The second level allows you to get something with this little area on the side, and then tells you what, when you flip it over, will be the action for the rest of the time. When you do it at the highest level, then you get to do both things, both this little area, getting some resources or something, and then also doing maybe a conversion and stuff like that, all right? So that is getting these. Before we move to the next spot, which are these two, let's talk a little bit about this area. This area, I'm going to move this forward, has, these little glass beads in them, and this corresponds to growth and passion and happiness or something like that, I'm forgetting. And you have 3 different levels at each, and these are things that you're going to spend as you are trying to, as Shelley's going to talk about in a minute, cure your person. So for example, these are at the lowest level right now, but it may be like right here, this thing would give me one each of these. And you have extras in the center here, and I'd be able to move them onto those first spots, the little ones that are diamond shaped. I can then go here, and this allows me to move 2 up 1 or 1 up 2, and then also move from here over to here, okay? So that I can go in the same ring and just move it over from one area to another. All right, those are the things that are associated with this area, and they are primarily used for curing your different clients. This area right here corresponds to the cards. This is research that you are doing. They come in basically the 3 different colors that you're used to with everything else, and they come with symbols that'll correspond down there, which we'll talk more about in a minute. But you can get cards, and the way you get cards is you always draw a card, look at it, and then you can swap it out for one of these 2 cards that is face up. That's what you do whenever you draw. Or this is play the cards down in front of you, getting the resource, or in this case, taking a tile from over here, and they now are in front of you. And when you have these symbols, that's and then part of what's the next thing to do. However, as you get these cards, let me just see if yeah. So if I had played, and I had already played these cards down in front of me, the other thing that I can do is I can write a treatise, and these are the treatises, and notice that they have books corresponding, spines there, that are in specific colors. So this second one right here takes 2 purples, a red, and a green. So I would organize these 2 purples, a red, and a green, just like this, and tuck them under. Now notice if there were any symbols on these now, I can't use those anymore, but now I immediately get 12 victory points, and I have a symbol for 2 of the 6 places that is in Vienna, and this goes down in front of me. But to do this, I need to make sure that I have released one of my color-specific tokens that goes over here. The only way to do that is to fill up a column or to fill up a row. Notice that these are on here. So those are the cards. The last 2 spots are about moving things on the board. Notice that Shelley's player piece is there in the theater district, hence the comedy and tragedy masks. And so this would be moving her up to 2 spots, or moving her to where Freud is, the gray character, or moving Freud up to 3 spots. Once they move, then they do the actions. You'll notice on the board that there are these spots that have the cogs on them. If you have a number of people in a specific area, or you have those symbols. So for example, if we moved Freud to here, this card in front of me has 2 symbols on it, so I would be able to do that action 2 times. Any of these 3 actions that are associated with there. Or, if I had library, I could have moved this and done these actions, okay? So that's the actions here on the board. The second possibility, and then we'll get to the third, which is what Shelley's going to talk about, is once I've got these things on the board, okay? I should say, after you've done this action, then you look at the row that you've placed your things in. So say I placed this, okay, and I got my 2 of these, spending down my coffee, right? I then look over here on the right side and I see, I have to move my ink well 1, 2, 3, or 4 steps. In this case, 1 step. And that would mean that I would activate everything that is in this row. So I would get a low green here. So I'd move that. And then this is spend a green to get a bright idea. This is another way of placing things out here, or worth 1 point at the end of the game. All right, so it's not only placing here, but moving this inkwell. The second thing you can do on a turn is look to see how many spots you're on, and give yourself a coffee bump for each different spot. So even though there's 3 things, it's only on 2 different spots. Give yourself a coffee bump. Take all your stuff back. Okay, and these, of course, would have come off. These come back. These come off from here. Once these are off, they go over into your available area. Okay, and then I look to where I'm standing, and I can do an action either where Freud is or where I am. Either these little actions, which are pretty good actually. Notice the sleeping. This is the sleeping phase. Or if I have gotten those symbols again, if I have at least 3 to 6 in a specific green, one of the 2, then I can do these better actions. But in order to do that, I've got to place a color-specific token out there. So those are the 2 things that are associated with this board. Placing on here, doing the action, and moving your inkwell, or taking everything off here, getting coffee, and doing one of the actions that is specific to a location out there. Now the third thing to do is a client.
Obviously, you've been doing all this in order to cure your clients.
Exactly.
So that's the main thing that you're working towards, but it takes all this to be able to accomplish this. And what's interesting about this is when you have your client who you've chosen, they have a plastic overlay on the top, which is very cool because it changes the card and what it does and gives you some benefits when you accomplish part of it.
Just leave it out there.
Okay. So the way you get your card, and then you must take some dreams that you're going to be working on curing for your client. So those are over here, and you take one from the lower level, the dream that you would have to work hard.
The latent dream.
The latent dream.
Yeah, so one of those would go in.
So that would go in here,
and
then you would put one of the.
Whoops! It goes like this.
Oh, sorry. One of the upper dreams, the ones that somebody's flying, and those go on top.
Exactly.
And that's what you're going to be using to work on curing this patient.
So whenever you get a new patient, you're going to take one of each of the 2 dream types and also a new patient. And after the first level, you're going to be getting, there's a bunch of these transparent level things, and that's what this is over here.
All the clients are different, all the transparencies are different, and it's very cool, all the variety within the game.
As soon as you take the client, you count how many hearts there are. That's how many things that they need to resolve. So this person has 5, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this moves to 5, and you have to get this to all the way to the end to cure your client. But I'm going to move this up here. Notice that there's 2 spots, this little star spot as well as the heart spot. Okay.
Yeah. So once you get it to the heart spot, that means that you would have accomplished this dream.
The star
spot. So this one needs to have one of your ideas in a fire all the way up, and one of the purples into like a bird, the medium level up.
Now it could be higher, so you can spend
they're
something
all
higher.
Different. They're all different. So once you've accomplished that, you can see it's worth 2 hearts.
So you have to spend these all the way down.
Yep. This you'll get rid of and get the benefits that are on top of it, which are to go 2 lower in hearts, 1, 2, getting us to the part where we could have catharsis.
Getting a bright idea.
Sometimes you get different things, depends, which means you can take off your plastic overlay. And when you take that off on this instance, we would get 2 coffees and a bright idea.
2 coffees, a bright idea, and because this is the first one, you've gotten enough information that you now open up a second room in your office. So
perhaps I pick another client and I'm like, I like this one. Maybe I'm trying to get the type of symbols. Maybe I want the coffee symbols or other things that are on here. Or I notice I have something that would be easier for me to maybe get to.
Well, I should say, the clients that have the blue back, these give you benefits during the game.
Right.
Whereas the clients that have the darker back give you benefits for end game scoring. So if Shelley takes this one, notice that when the overlay is on it, this has a line through it. But as soon as, and in the case of that one, as soon as this is removed, even though they're not cured, from now on in the game, and these are one of the things you have to remember, Shelley can lower one of her values here to get a coffee. That would be an action that she could do as an extra thing during her turn. Upon removing this, as you can see, you get 5 victory points and 2 coffees. They also, some of these symbols have little clouds or other things on them. And you'll notice that when she's drafting, she takes this client, she has to take something from over here. So maybe she takes this one, but she could also then take this one, which has a cloud symbol up here at the top. And now when that gets dealt with, when this dream gets dealt with, you get a heart-shaped box.
And this one wants 5.
Yeah, exactly. So
sometimes they match up, and other times not.
Other times not. So
yeah.
If for this one it's nice because there are 5 hearts on when you're going through the cure, 5 hearts on there. Sometimes there's more on the client than is on the card, and that's why you need these heart-shaped boxes, because you can, at the end of your turn, you can spend one of these or more to work on getting to either a catharsis or a cure. Yeah.
And so then once you have done that, then you have access to the bottom, which indicates what you're going to be able to do every time you sleep. In this case, you get one
extra location bonus.
And
it has a symbol on it.
So I have a theater symbol on that, and so I would be able to get some benefit when I went into the theater, or I could try to get representation in some of the actions up here that require the theater.
Yeah. It is only when you do the cure, though, that you actually get the victory points on your score track. So Shelley does this. She gets 8 victory points.
Yep.
Okay, boom, and there. Now, we've talked about all the actions here, but there is one thing that we have not talked about, and that is reputation, which is this track here. And it is the game timing mechanism. And the way it works is there are a few things that give you reputation. First, when you go to these areas that we just talked about when you do sleep, you're the first person to do it in each. Notice there's a little reward symbol on the top token here. That gives you a reputation. And whenever there's reputation, first, Freud moves forward, and you move your token forward as well.
So Freud's always going to be in front.
Exactly. Freud's always going to be in front. And when he gets all the way to the end to this time thing, you're going to finish out the round and then have one more round, and that will be the end of the game. On the ink well movement, this spot over here, right before you get to the top of the circle here, that's the thing that actually triggers this area. So you get whatever's above your reputation. So in this case, if Shelley had moved 2, she would get 3 victory points and a coffee. But then you also get to choose one of the 2 possibilities that Freud is next to. So in this case, play 2 cards from your hand or take one of the notebook tokens. So that is another thing that you've got going on. You also have these tiles, which are going to give you reputation as well. And these are in-game goals. So for example, curing 2 of these people, getting all 3 of your speech bubbles unlocked, doing 2 columns, doing 2 treatises, doing 3 of these people, getting 2 of your colored tokens out here on the city board, or curing a total of 5 people. That's what moves this along.
These are always the things that you're working on because they give you other benefits once you've accomplished them.
Well, they give you symbols that are on the board, yes.
Which allows you to do actions more times by having more of those symbols. Normally you would do it based on how many people are at the location, but you might be able to have a different amount, or more potentially, if you had some of these other cards that give you symbols. Some of these books give you symbols, and You can get symbols even on some of the clients you cure.
Yeah,
you know?
And at the end of the game, so you go through, Freud has gotten here, finish out the round, do one more round, then you're going to look and see where your reputation got to. Whoever got furthest on this board is going to get 2 points for every treatise and person that they cured. Second place is going to get 1 point for every person and treatise that they wrote. And then you are going to do a bunch of other different scoring, and that's the game. Whew. So as we said, there's a lot going on in this game.
This is a big game.
Definitely
this is a
big
great game.
Yes, I was just going to say,
it's worth it. If you gotta work hard to cure your clients.
So we've had, if you listen to the audio podcast,
yes.
We did this one pretty much right after also talking about Civolution. All right. Mm-hmm. So Civolution is a Stefan Feld game. We love Stefan Feld,
yes.
But Civolution felt like work and not good fun work.
For us.
Like work. Now, some people love it.
Yep, that's
all more power to you.
Yeah.
This one, there's work, but it's fun.
It's fun.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot to digest, but it is great. The theme helps connect things nicely. I like the card overlays.
Yeah, that's
That's a
cool.
really cool aspect of it. The artwork is great. There's 2 different artists in this, one of who's doing the real world stuff and the other person who's doing the dream artwork, which reminds us, we talked about this and on the audio podcast, reminds us kind of the Dixit artwork, if you know that great game.
I mean, this art is really spectacular.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful.
And just the whole overlays make this so awesome, and that you can kind of because you don't just cure someone easily. It takes effort.
You reach a catharsis,
but
boom!
You get some benefits as you go along.
Exactly.
And then, you start curing people, and it's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
And trying to determine how many movements you want for your inkwell. Because you can do this action at a
you could do it at a 2 or a 3
bottle.
Do I want to move this 2 times? Do I want to move it 3 times? Do I want to go faster so I get my my speech bubbles off before Shelley's going to do that? All of these things come into play. Oh, but if I do that, I'm only going to activate this row, which only gives me 1 thing instead of activating 2 things here. There's so many.
Or do I need to come up here to get these pieces so that I can release the ones that are color specific, so I can start working on the board. But even without working on the board, you do not have enough actions here with your clear pieces without getting these off pretty quickly as well.
Right, because there's only 7 here. Yeah. So, you want to be, when you have 2 people, it's going to take a bit. So, this was the way it was. Whenever you do a client action, you can actually attempt to cure or work with both clients at that time. So I would need 1, 2, 3, 4 different things at pretty high levels to be able to do both of those at the same time. But that's certainly what you want to do if you can.
So some of the actions are take something down 1 to go up 2 or 3.
Right.
And some of the cards that you would get from your books will have those type of powers on them too.
Exactly.
And
give you stuff
or give you something at a certain level, which maybe you're trying to get.
Exactly.
This is
so many possibility and so much fun in this game.
Yeah.
Again, this is Unconscious Mind. Get it up here. Unconscious Mind from Lucky Duck Games. We've got 4 different designers: Yoma, Zax, Laskas, and Jonny Pac. Jonny Pac, I guess, was also a big developer in the game. So kudos to him for this one. Wow. And Lucky Duck, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
From start to finish. Excellent stuff here. Really glad to have played it, and worth checking out if you like big games.
Big games. This is the big one.
Definitely. All right, that'll do it for this time. Remember, sponsoring the podcast is garrettsgames.com. Head down to the show notes. We also have an extensive list of up-to-date games that no longer fit on our shelves but belong on your table. And remember, thumbs up, subscribe. We love hearing from you. Yeah. Send us an email, and take care of yourselves as we get into this holiday season. Playing a game or 2 with the family hopefully isn't too stressful, and hopefully it's fun. Have a good one. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.